Music mogul, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and most recently, Brother Love. Music mogul, P. Diddy, right? Cassie, his ex, Cassandra Ventura, filed a lawsuit, $30 million, accusing and this happened, what? This was yesterday, was Friday. So this happened Thursday, right? Thursday evening, this news came out. And Cassie accused Sean Diddy Combs of rape, one thing, and also abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence in their relationship. So in the suit, as I said, because we discussed it on Thursday night on Leftist Mafia, but just a rundown, just in the suit, okay. It was filed in federal district court in Manhattan. Cassie, she said that not long after she met Diddy in 2005, when she was 19, he began a pattern of control and abuse that included plying her with drugs, and this is per the suit, plying her with drugs, beating her and forcing her to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while he filmed the encounters. In 2018, the suit says near the end of their relationship, Mr. Combs forced his way into her home and raped her. There's more details because a lot of people, what I've seen on Thursday was a lot of people coming out and saying, and these are like people who wanted to come for Cassie. We see that a lot. A lot of people want to say that this didn't happen, what we call victim blaming. Why did she stay? Why did she do any of this? We see a lot of that happen. And again, this was people who were just going off of the headline that they saw. Cassie files a $30 million lawsuit against P. Diddy. If you were smart, you would go in and you would read the details. Okay. You would read the details. You would see what was within that lawsuit. Let me just preface it with this. Domestic violence, domestic abuse is never okay, whether it's at the hands of a woman or the hands of a man or anyone. It's never okay. In relationships, it can be tough for people to come out. But specifically when it comes to women, it's a large amount, it's a larger number, right? And this is statistically, right? Statistics show that it impacts women more, and women aren't reporting it as much. And I think it's because, and here's my theory with that, in recent years, it's gone down about the amount of women who are reporting it or people who are reporting it. I think half of the people who are in domestic violence relationships statistically are reported. And here's why I think that is, because especially now, I feel like online, a lot of domestic violence conversations and toxic relationships are more praised out loud. And you'll hear people say, he loves me, but, we'll see things that are extreme happen online, and we'll see people either go back, which is not a bad thing. Some people may change, right? But a lot of times in domestic violence situations, that isn't the case. I remember seeing an interview with Ellen and Diddy. Ellen was telling him, she was saying to Diddy, hey, when you took Chris into your home, and we're talking about Chris Brown and the situation with him and Rihanna, when you took Chris into your home, you know, uh, why did you do that? She said, she was saying to him, he was like, oh, it's my business, and I step in, and they wanted my home, and I was trying to do a good thing. And Ellen said, I believe that you were trying to do a good thing, but I also don't want young girls to think that it's okay for you to be abused by somebody and just go back. And that was a conversation that I seen. And again, I do believe people do change, but that is something that we've seen patterns of. I've seen so many different videos ever since this lawsuit dropped. Another key thing in the lawsuit was that Diddy's team had initially said that she wanted the money so that she can write a book. And she was offered 8 figures to be quiet. She didn't take that money. So for people who are saying, oh, it was just for the money, she was offered 8 figures. And I think for 10 years of your life, even if you're looking for some money, 8 figures and you ain't take it and you still had more to say. Okay. Here's the thing. Immediately, this was dropped on Thursday. The next day, I think yesterday evening, Cassie, quietly, I guess, out loud, Cassie went and settled. with Diddy. On between Thursday and then we have Friday. Between that time, so many people were speaking up who were in Diddy's circle in some way, shape, or form. There are videos that may be things that were made up or whatever, but there are videos of him in it, conversations, people that were talking, people that have worked alongside him who have accounts of different situations, and everybody can't be lying. So there's video and there's footage of conversations people had with him or people who have worked near him who have said this behavior isn't surprising, who have said they witnessed it. And I think one thing about it in between that time, so many people were speaking up. But I said this, when you're a very powerful person like Sean Combs is, when you are a very powerful person like that, things can, you can lip, like, you can make things disappear. And we're I think Olay said it best, and I want you guys to take a look or take a listen to what Olay said. And there was some cursing in here, but it's blocked. So if you have children, just viewer discretion is advised. But let's take a listen to Olay. And if you guys know, Olay is a woman of the law. She's an attorney. She's a lawyer, and she knows this stuff about when it comes to law. So I want you guys to take a listen as to what she said. While it's funny in some ways, but it's very serious. So for those who are out here trying to victim blame, let's take a listen.
First of all, if anybody gets sued and they settle the case the next fucking day, they did that shit. Okay? They did that shit. Whatever they say they do, they did that shit. More importantly, if Sean P. Diddy, I don't pay no fucking body Combs, settles it, oh, he did that. Mr. I take everybody's publishing. Mr. I wouldn't dream of giving no royalties. Mr. I, this is a nigga who makes pay to get out of his day contracts. Are you serious? No. Diddy settle that and pay that immediately? Do you know the amount of artists this have sued this, have taken up arms against this, and he wouldn't pay them, but he did that and then some, and he wouldn't dare let it get to a court.
Now, I'll say this. I agree with Olay for sure. I agree with Olay. And here's my thing about it though. Like, if you really look at it, Diddy is untouchable in some ways. We have the band Fatty Cool, a lot of these people who tried to come against him and nothing ever happened of it. Fought for their publishing rights, nothing ever happened of it. Mace had stories, nothing ever came of it. Like all of these things. And I said this, and this is how I feel about it. Okay. This is my feelings, my opinions, that of my own. Okay. Of Rebecca Azor. And that is Diddy wants to, I think he has this God complex. He's untouchable. He can take years from people like Cassie, 10 years, and he can do so and then come out and go to the Black community, the one that like will take him in. And I'm talking about the Black church, because all of a sudden, the highest known right now preacher, one of the most respected, that being TD Jakes, is now in some way co-signing. Not now. I ain't talking about right after what happened, but I'm co-signing and protecting Diddy in some ways. It becomes his pastor, becomes his leader, which is fine. But it threw me for a loop. But I also think it's part of Diddy's plan, right? You know you've been wrong. You want to change your life in a quickness, but you've done people so wrong. You've done people so wrong. And you'll go to the place where they'll be very forgiving. And the same person who's telling us, I went from watching, and I love TD Jakes, I love Sarah Jakes, I love watching their sermons. I listen to them through the week to keep my head on straight. But the same person, like, I'll watch on a Sunday, tell me, hey, sometimes you can't listen to certain people or be in certain places because of what they do, what they're affiliated with. If you're trying to walk a certain way. And the next day I see that same person sitting at a party where all types of music is being played, where there's booty everywhere, drinks flowing. Like, it didn't make sense to me. But that's the type of power I feel like Diddy has. And then to change his name to Love. I believe that, biblically, you hear God is love. That's in the Bible. And that is, they say to be like Christ, but you can't be Christ. And I think that Diddy walks with the God complex. And it's problematic when you feel like you can't be touched. And I think because the lawsuit was settled so quickly, people are looking to victim blame and looking straight at Cassie. And instead of looking at, wow, this man who doesn't play will take other people to court because they trying to leave his label, will make them pay, will make them feel small, immediately settled. And if you look at the original lawsuit, which was a civil suit, if you look at it, you will see the details, which were very gruesome. One of the details, including when she briefly dated Kid Cudi. This is all in the lawsuit, you guys. When she briefly dated Kid Cudi, he threatened to blow up his car. And one day, Kid Cudi's looking out the window and his car blows up. Now, that could have been an allegation, yet Kid Cudi went out there and said, this is true. It happened. It happened. So when we think about somebody who can be very dangerous, potentially very dangerous, as Cassie alleges, he wouldn't settle like that. But there is so much information that she has from being with him for 10 years. And he didn't want none of that coming out. And so he settled. Okay? So I don't think that he thought that she would have the balls to do so or the vagina to do so. And she did. There's a video circulating from years ago of her now partner, Alex Fine, her husband, Alex Fine, going on a marathon run where it was for domestic abuse, to house domestic violence, people who have been abused. And I think when he made it to the end, there's a video showing him hugging her. And the hug was like, you can see that there was something relatable there. And it was long. And I'm like, listen, there is a story there to tell, and we may not ever hear it, and that's okay. But I also think, just like with the Keke Palmer situation, these are stories from celebrities, and you can't imagine how many women who have gone through things and couldn't tell their stories. We watched what happened when Meg Thee Stallion told her story. She went from singing "I'm a Savage" to "We Hardly Seen Her." Beyonce remixed this girl's song. That song was the biggest thing on TikTok, actually helping a lot of us through the pandemic during the beginning, push through. Y'all remember we were in there, "I'm a Savage," everything. Meg Thee Stallion was at the height of her career. And she spoke out about an incident. And the thing is, it is proven that she was shot in the foot by Tory Lanez. And everybody said, but she was the problem. Right? Remember that? We see Keke Palmer speak out, and people said, but she is a mother. Meanwhile, nobody knew for over 2 years, her partner, who she was protecting, right? Her child's father, who she was protecting, was abusing her physically. Okay? And now Cassie, who we never hear from, a mother of two, a wife, we never hear from her, has spoken up, and people say she's lying. And I think this is part of why women don't speak up anyway. Because as soon as they say, hey, this happened to me, well, what were you wearing? Why did you stay? If this was happening, why didn't you tell anybody? If this is true, why would you try to sue for money? Imagine 10 years of your life being taken from you in some way, shape, or form at 19 years old. You begin a relationship with somebody at 19 years old. 10 years. Him just going to jail. I don't know. So for 10 years of suffering, I'm coming for everything that I deserve. Because me and mine are going to be all right for this lifetime of mental health and stress, maybe triggers, whatever. What I see too is a pattern of Diddy with young women. And I think that should be studied as well. Even speaking about it is crazy. I think a lot of people who are choosing to speak about this are afraid. When people are in power, like Diddy is, who has a network like Revolt, where a lot of people want to go work for and be around. When we see this, these people in power, people are afraid to speak up about it. People are really afraid. Diddy brought back, if you remember, Danity Kane online. This incident brought back Danity Kane together in some strange way. It's 11/11. In some strange way, they all got together. D Woods, who we haven't heard, who has not for years gotten on social media and told us a thing. D Woods from Danity Kane. Don Richards, Aubrey O'Day. They've taken to their social media accounts to talk, to just say, hey, Cassie, we know and we hear you and we send you love. These are people that worked closely with Diddy. Even I forget his name. I think he's from Day 26. Said that he didn't sign no NDA. That he was they were trying to force him to sign. So everybody can't be lying. And I'll say that. And for the people that I really respected that got on social media, and there was one person that got on social media, and I'll keep him nameless, who I really respected, who got on social media and said, for all those women who sat on their soapboxes and typed away on social media about Cassie and how domestic violence is wrong, which I got to say now that she settled. Victim blaming. I've been a witness to domestic violence a lot of my entire life. I've experienced it. There are so many different aspects of it. So, men to sit there and think that because a woman said, this is what happened to me, she got to be lying. I think that's very problematic. I think that's very troublesome. I think that's where we're not seeing it. Why can't we look at it and question why Diddy settled so quickly? If he didn't do it, why would he settle? Because what she stated in that original lawsuit was very damaging, was very extreme. So if he didn't do it, why would he settle? To anybody who's ever experienced any domestic violence, anything, hey, listen, don't be afraid to speak up. But also, if you are afraid to speak up, there's a hotline, right? 737-225-3150, National Domestic Violence Hotline, 737-225-3150. If you can't speak to your family, if you can't speak to your friends, if you can't speak to your loved ones, if you aren't a celebrity like Cassie, if you aren't any of that, that's all right. You need to talk to somebody. You feel afraid. You feel like you're in a place you can't do anything. You're helpless. People don't believe you when you spoke about it the first time. That's okay. That's okay. You can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Again, that number is 737-225-3150. You can jump in my DMs. We can have a conversation. Whatever you need to do. Listen, whether you're a man or a woman, domestic violence is never okay. Make sure you share, okay? You share, you like, you comment, you subscribe, okay? You guys, we need your support to keep this going, to keep these conversations going. Patreon.com/, like it or not. Patreon.com/, like it or not. Listen, without you, wouldn't be no me, all right? Here on Like It or Not.